bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We're News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, September 27th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and this is News Generation. Today we're joined by Im Sang-yeok.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday, and Kim Ki-yeon.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Now, like always, we're going to start with their news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items trending online. South Korean football player Son Heung-min, captain of the English Premier League's Tottenham Hotspur, has voiced concerns about the number of games players are being asked to play. During a press conference on Wednesday, Son stated that while players love football, they're not robots. He added that stepping onto the pitch without being mentally or physically ready after numerous matches and extensive travel significantly increases the risk of injury. His comments follow similar concerns raised by Manchester City's Rodri last week, who mentioned that players were close to considering strike action. Days later, Rodri suffered a knee ligament injury. Seoul Seongsu-dong area in Seongdong-gu district has been ranked 4th on the UK-based Time Out magazine's list of the world's coolest neighborhoods for 2024. The magazine describes Seongsu as a former industrial hub for leather, printing, and shoemaking that has transformed into one of Seoul's most creative areas. Often referred to as Seoul's Brooklyn, the neighborhood's red brick warehouses and old factories have been converted into trendy cafes, boutiques, and galleries. The Korean movie Officer Black Belt starring Kim Woo-bin and the survival reality show Culinary Class Wars have topped Netflix's latest global top 10 in the non-English TV series and movies category. This marks the third time that both a Korean movie and a TV show have held the top spot simultaneously since Netflix introduced its top 10 chart in 2021. Officer Black Belt follows a skilled martial artist who teams up with a probation officer to become a martial arts officer, while Culinary Class Wars pits two teams of chefs, the Black Spoon and White Spoon, against each other in a culinary battle using the same main ingredients. So I want to ask our panelists, have you watched either of these shows, and why do you think these shows have become so popular?
Well, not the movie, but I did see the Culinary War, some of the episodes, and anything related food and cake content, it's going to be a killer content,
right,
especially on Netflix. It's an edition format, right? And if you look at the history of the Korean reality shows, especially editions, there's always rules. First, they've got to have great talents, and the visual is needless to say. Food has always been a great source, and if you actually take it to Netflix, there's hundreds of different food shows. And any edition show, there's got to be appealing stories. For example, all the participants have different backgrounds, right? Some are elites, some might have had an unfortunate background financially, and some even had sad stories, right, with family crisis, whatever. All these mixed backgrounds and stories had flavors to the show, of course, and making the show interest and great.
Not to mention the good flavor-looking food as well.
Exactly.
Right. So, Sang-yeok, what about you? Did you watch the movie or the show as well?
Not yet, but I'm planning to catch the premiere later on. And I've heard that many people talking about these shows around me. And also my friends told me that we should actually visit the restaurants run by the chefs that were on the show. Now, I think there are two reasons why these TV shows garnered attention. So first, as for the Culinary Class Wars, it's about food, like he mentioned. Everyone loves food, and even though you're not a foodie, watching this mesmerizing visuals of good-looking dishes will catch your eyes. And second, these type of TV shows portray the jobs that we are not really familiar with, but also that we've been always curious of. So, for example, the show about Black Belt has to do with the special police that chases after sexual criminals. And as for the Culinary Class Wars, it's about the chefs, and it portrays the scenes of what happens in the kitchen. So I think these two factors have contributed to the popularity of these shows.
Right, it kind of feels what you really wanted to know more about. For example, a martial arts artist and also chefs. So if you are interested in either of this movie or the show, you can catch them on the streaming platform Netflix. And that was our news feed for this Friday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Now on Wednesday, we talked about the transcription trend among our generation, and today we'll be focusing on one of the most popular subjects people love to transcribe, and that is literature. Take a look at the screen to find out more.
Autumn is often considered the best season for reading, a time for book lovers. Picture yourself cozying up on the sofa with a cup of tea and your favorite book. If you're wondering what to read this fall, why not explore Korean literature?
Right, starting off, I would like to ask our panelists, do you enjoy reading? And if you do, what kind of genres are you particularly attracted to?
I used to.
Used
read
to. Not
books.
now?
Nah, I try to read many books as possible now. As for my preferences, I prefer fiction over nonfiction because I think I cannot really actually relate to other people's experiences or life stories. So I try to read the books that are based on imaginations with great messages. But at the same time, I do enjoy reading informative nonfiction. One of the nonfiction that I really enjoyed was *Sapiens*, written by Yuval Harari. And also I use the benefit of being a bilingual, and I also enjoy reading American or British novels too. And because I'm an instructor at college, I can use the school library, and if there are any books that are not on the shelves but I want, then I ask the librarians to order for me, which is really convenient.
Right, another benefit of being an instructor at college.
Right.
So Sang-hyuk is into reading American or British novels, so you're a fan of novels, I guess. What about you, Ki?
You know, ever since I joined a crew member for a news generation, I've always felt guilty.
Why?
Every time they talk about a topic, it's not. I'll be honest here. I'm not a bookworm. So haven't been reading for quite a long time, but still, I read a lot of magazines. It doesn't matter which kind, the fashion, sports, or music. A couple of the reasons being is to catch the latest terms and expressions and how the journalists or writers elaborate what phrases or vocabularies that they're using in the latest ads. And as a broadcaster, I need to catch them up and those trends quick.
Right.
And I also run my own company. I am a consultant for the conglomerate's English keynote speech, their strategic plan or marketing plans, or even when they release a new product, then I need to elaborate their English marketing plan. So reading magazines and newspaper is quite important for me.
Right, and I see. And going back to our main topic of the day, which is Korean literature, this genre has really been gaining international attention in recent years, with many people now even calling it as K-literature. So I want to ask our panelists once again, what do you think has sparked this growing global interest towards K-literature?
Well, first of all, as the K-pop artists recommend the books and the literature in their platforms, I think that actually sparked the attention of the whole K-books, and which the Ki will mention in a few minutes. But for now, as a translator, I would like to say that before the rise of the K-contents, actually there was a demand for Korean novels. In fact, with the rising contemporary novels of Korea, there were many resonating messages that the global citizens can relate to. And also with the support of government agencies like the Korean Literature Translation Institute, many books are now being translated into multiple languages and are presented on the shelves of overseas bookstores. So with these years of efforts, I think now is the time that they are finally being paid off.
Right, so both the quantity and quality of Korean literature books that are available internationally, it has definitely risen. Now, what could be some other reasons, Ki?
Well, like Sang has mentioned, some of the books the BTS has read are getting attention from around the world. For example, Almond, written by Son Won-pyong, is getting great reviews from the critics and readers around the world. Yes, it did get attention because RM Sugar read it,
right.
But the storybook itself is really great. And Pachinko, another novel by Lee Min-jin, was ranked 15 on the New York Times list of 100 books, the best books of the 21st century, and ranked number 5 by the Reader's Choice. And New York Times said, and Pachinko is a stunning family saga where history itself is a character. So it's really a mixture of talent of all the Korean writers and how it's well portrayed in the international scene. So not just because the Korean artists, for example, like BTS, is because they read it. Just art, literature itself is just great.
Right, and Pachinko has been made into a streaming platform series,
Exactly.
right, on Apple TV Plus. So you guys can also check both the book and the series out. It's currently in season 2, and it's not only, as Kim mentioned and Sang-hyuk mentioned, it's not only thanks to the influence of K-pop stars or the growing interest in the Korean wave, but Korean literature status on the global stage has also been further solidified by the recognition of Korean authors and books, especially at some of the world's most prestigious award ceremonies, right?
Right, so we now have world famous authors. I think it all began when Hangang won the Booker's Prize with her novel, Vegetarian. That's when I think Koreans started to realize, hey, Korean novels are also popular in other countries. So another book by Hangang, I Do Not Bid Farewell, also won the Prix Médicis, which is considered one of France's top 4 literary prizes. And we also have new authors that are getting the attention on the global stage, such as Jung Bora, whose book Curse Bunny was nominated as the final candidate at the International Booker Prize. Now, these books and authors are showcasing to the world that Korean literature is top-notch in their message, and the quality of the story is really nice.
And actually catering to this demand and increased demand for Korean literature, I've also heard that Korean cultural centers overseas, they have been rolling out various programs to really help more international audience experience Korean literature firsthand.
Sure. Korean cultural centers around the world, Sydney, one in Sydney, Australia, US, Sweden, recently hosted Korean literature festivals, and they invite local residents to enjoy K-literature. And in England, they had something called the first Oxford Korean Literature Festival. And now, one of the most prestigious universities is obviously Oxford, and Korean Literature Festival, sponsored by Korean Cultural Center in UK, was held in the middle of the campus. That's gotta mean something, right? And they had this event called A Conversation with Cha In-pyo, the actor, so who's also fluent in English. So he actually flew to Oxford campus and shed light on some of the writers that are not even popular even in Korea. So they had a chance to talk about that and talk about the Korean literature. So it was a great, great opportunity.
Right, so if you're interested in Korean literature and if you want to experience it firsthand, why not check out the nearest Korean cultural center around you, because they are, as Kim mentioned, are offering diverse programs related to K-literature. Now, to find out more about the K-literature wave in around the world, we also asked our viewers if they've read any Korean literature books, and if so, what their favorites are. And here's what 3 of them said. XOXO DNSO said, I read Jung Bora's Cursed Bunny. It was a Booker Prize nominee, and I enjoyed the book. I wish I could read more Korean literature. Miss Girl 3410 says, I actually happen to be a couple chapters into Greek lessons by Hangang. It's my first book in Korean. Sunny Sun 722 says, one of my favorite Korean books is I Want to Die, But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki. I came up with this book as my favorite K-food is tteokbokki, but actually this essay delicately described the author's experience of depression and treatment for it, which resonated with me. I love this book. Wow, so a lot of our viewers are indeed interested and they've tried out Korean literature. Now, expanding our discussion further to get a better understanding of how much Korean literature has grown globally, we're going to invite a Korean literature author to our talks after a short break. So today we're joined by Park So-young, author of the book The Snow Globe Duology. Welcome, So-young, to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us and for your time today. So first of all, So-young, could you please introduce yourself and tell us about your work?
Yes, I am So-young, a novelist based in Seoul. So far, I have created a dystopian world of negative 41 degrees, where brutal enter never ends, and another dystopian world where people have to share bodies with others to survive in a post-AI era. So I deeply love crafting new worlds that readers can explore through my books. Through these wild journeys, I ask my readers, can we still be ourselves if in this chaotic world? And can we still hold on to the ones we love? I aim to challenge this kind of questions and connecting with readers through my stories on a deeper level, no matter where they are.
Okay, Soyoung, it's actually really honored to have you in the studio because I read your book, The Snow Globe Duology, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh.
Okay, so have you noticed the global rise of Korean literature, and what do you think is fueling this popularity?
Yes, I have definitely noticed, and I have experienced that firsthand through my own work. My debut novel, like you said, the first book of the Snow Globe Duology, has been in the process of being translated into 11 different languages, and some editions are already out there meeting global readers. Well, but I was completely unknown. So, how did international publishers discover my book? And how did Snow Globe 1 make it onto the New York Times bestseller list when it was published in America? It's all thanks to the global rise of Korean literature. I believe this popularity is fueled by the unique storytelling that only Korean writers can offer, blending the cultural depth with themes that resonate internationally. Moreover, like you mentioned, the worldwide success of Korean films, TV shows, and music has sparked a curiosity about other aspects of Korean culture, including literature. So, this cultural wave has opened doors for many of us to share our stories with a global audience, and I am deeply honored to be a part of it.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for coming to the show. But the writer always wants to tell a good story to their readers, regardless of where they're coming from. But if there's anything in your work, what do you focus on to resonate or to reach the global audience?
So, in my work, I focus on exploring universal themes such as identity, love, and human connection, which resonate with readers regardless of their cultural background. I also try to incorporate elements of Korean culture in a way that feels authentic yet accessible, providing a unique perspective that global audiences can appreciate. For example, the new book I'm currently working on is going to be my first fantasy novel, so I'm so thrilled to enjoy this new world every day. And it's set in a Western inspired world, such as Game of Thrones and The Lord of the Rings. However, I have infused it with distinctive Korean element drawn from our history and culture to create something fresh and unique. By weaving together these diverse influences, I hope to create a narrative that both honors my heritage and speaks to a global audience.
That new fantasy novel of yours sounds so fun already. I wish we can see it soon in person. All right, Soyoung, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure speaking with you today.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, so when talking about K-literature, it's novels, Korean novels that have been recognized most internationally, but I think that both of you guys agree that there are so many hidden gems, untold stories, and authors waiting to be discovered by the global audience, don't you think?
Yeah, so just going beyond the novels, we also have good poems and essays that could also garner the attention on the global stage. So I think one of the important thing that we need to do is providing more government incentives to the authors so that they can receive financial support and focus on their writings. And hosting more book fairs overseas and presenting Korean books to the global audience could also boost the popularity as well.
Right, so more government support and offering more platforms for Korean authors to actually showcase their work globally. Now, what else do you think should be done to expand K-literature's global reach?
Well, I think it depends on 상혁's shoulder right now.
Why?
Translating.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Because when it comes to literature, it's all about the author's or writer's expression and how they intend to deliver it and portray them. And it's very delicate.
Right.
Because we speak different tongue and different culture and different backgrounds. So it's hard to translate exactly how they mean it. So for example, there are a million of different ways to express certain things. For example, pretty, 예쁜, 어여쁜. And if you talk about color, 노란, 센노란, 노오란, 누런, 누르스름한. So they're all different, right? 누리끼리한, right? So it's very important we deliver the writer's intention right, so the global audiences would get it precisely.
Okay, so I really thank Ki for mentioning our hard words because
Yes.
oftentimes people tend to overlook the importance of translation. And if more and more literature could be translated into languages, and then I think the Korean literature would also head for the Nobel Prize. as well.
I think nurturing great translators and interpreters are as much as important as nurturing good authors. So hope we can see more amazing translators and authors from the Korean literature world as well. And that's all from us today, but Newsden will be back next Monday at 9:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks today to Im Sang-yeok.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ki Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching and have a nice weekend. We are News Generation.